this week in Bible school we learned about parables. Do you remember what a parable is? Jesus told a lot of parables. We talked about the parable of the lost son. Remember that one?
Stories.
They're stories. That's right. Jesus told stories. Were they everyday stories or really, really, really special stories?
Really special stories.
Well, that was a trick question because they were very, very special everyday stories. They were stories that people could apply to their own life, and where Jesus would explain really important things in ways that people could understand them in their own life. So I have here today two things of each to explain to you a parable that Jesus talked about. Jesus talked about a farmer who went out and he sowed his seeds. And while they were sleeping, one night a neighbor, a mean neighbor, came in and he sowed weeds right there in the wheat field. And they didn't know until the wheat started to grow. And the weeds began to grow right along with the wheat. And the farmer said, "Oh my goodness." The slaves of the farmer came to him and said, "Somebody sowed weeds with your wheat. Shall we pull out the weeds?" And the farmer, you would think that the farmer would have said yes. But he said no, because guess what would happen if you start pulling up the weeds that are planted right next to the wheat?
It would pull up the...
And you are so smart. You know a lot about farming, don't you? It would pull up the wheat with the weeds. And so the farmer said, "Nope, let those weeds and wheat grow together, and then at the harvest time, we'll separate them." And so the wheat and the weeds grew together, and when they got bigger, you could really see which ones were the wheat and which ones were the weeds. And Jesus said that the farmer said that when the weeds were pulled up, when it was harvest time, that they were to be burned, and that the wheat would be put into the storehouse. And the way Jesus talked about that parable is that the wheat and the weeds represent, what do you think? They represent people? Yeah, they represent people. They represent people. And do you think the wheat are good people or bad people?
Good people.
Yeah, the wheat is the good people, the people who love Jesus, who love Him and want to serve Him. And the weeds are the people that want to, that just don't believe in good and just do bad things all the time. Well, Jesus said at the harvest time, and as Christians, we believe the harvest time is at the very end of our life, at the very end when Jesus comes back again, He's going to separate the good from the bad. Who does that, God or us? God. God separates the good from the bad this time. Now, you are right, Colton. It's very confusing. And I find this parable to be confusing, by the way. I don't know about you. We'll talk about that some more later. But it is confusing because Jesus always wants us to do good things, but we can't separate good people from bad people, can we? We just have to love all people. But God is the one who, at the appointed time, separates the good from the bad. God's the only one that can do that.
They're magnets. Wait, no, they're tied up. They're tied together.
They're just beads. Okay, moving right along. Let's say our prayers. You ready? You are so smart. Too smart for my own good. Oh, before we say our prayers, I forgot. You want to say one of your Bible verses for them? Which one do you want to say?
The second one.
Oh, that was the easy one. The first one? This is how God showed His love among us. You want that one? Okay, you ready? This is how God showed His love among us. He sent His only Son into the world. Isn't that amazing? They learn their Bible verses every night except for the last night, because by the last night we were all so fried and our brains were getting mushy, weren't they? Yeah, we had a hard time remembering the one that Jesus said, "Go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey all that I have commanded you." Did you get that one yet? You still working on it? You got it, Haley?
That was the hardest.
That was a hard one because it was long and we were tired. But all week long, I believe in bribery. If Airheads will help you learn your Bible verse, I will buy you Airheads so you can have two. We had some left over from Bible school. Get two, quick, 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 quick. You like both blue? Okay, now we're going to say our prayers. You guys help us. Dear God, we love you so much. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for letting us be